And I'm Megan,
twins and host of M&M Chat,
a monthly podcast that brings together our many commonalities. Motherhood, farm life, fitness, chasing our passions, and go chat.
It is our goal to create a show that is positive, real, and fun. Now let's dive into this month's episode. Okay, Megan, today we have a really fun episode for you guys. It's called Spooky Season, and we are going to do a taste test of our fall festive drinks. We have some spooky stories to share with you from growing up and just things that we've experienced. We're going to talk about our favorite scary movies and what our plans are for this year's festive season.
I am super excited. Let's get started. So, just to jump right in, we're going to do some spooky questions. So, Morgan, let's just talk about the Ouija board. Have you ever played with the Ouija board, or do you have any stories with that?
So I don't know if I really believe in like the whole Ouija board kind of scariness and bringing back just kind of the ghosts and stuff. But
and Morgan, should we even mention what the Ouija board is, because
it's kind of from our childhood.
Yeah.
People used to do it. I don't know if they still do it today.
Yeah, let us know if you guys have heard of it or if you used to play it when you were a kid. But what is it, Morgan?
Yeah, so it's this kind of a game actually, but you spin this thing and it's supposed to move and you're supposed to be able to kind of talk to the dead. And just from like a Christian perspective, I don't really believe in this game, but as a spooky festive season, it creeped me out.
Yes.
We tried this once. Our stepsister Leah, she had some friends over and they were camping in the backyard, and they invited us to come and hang out in the tent and play this game with them. And it freaked Megan and I out.
Yeah, I just remember it was nighttime, it was dark, we were in this tent, and we were 4 years younger than our stepsister and her friends, and they wanted to do this Ouija board, and we were like, nope. We kind of sat there for a little bit, and I think she even said something like, why don't we see if we can talk to your great-grandma who passed away, and I was like, at that moment, I was like, nope. We ran in the house and we're like, not doing this.
No, and I don't think I've played it since. I don't want to go near it. It's just not my cup of tea. I like Halloween Town and Hocus Pocus.
Kind of the friendly, scary
going
Halloween
to pumpkin
movies.
patches.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get to the next one, should we try one of our festive drinks?
Yeah, which one do you want to try?
Should we start with the hot one so it doesn't get cold?
Sure.
Okay, guys, so we went to Starbucks and we got all of the festive drinks, and we thought we would give them a try and give you guys our opinion about each one of these, see if it really matches up to the hype that we've been hearing. And so the first one we're trying is the Starbucks Pumpkin Spiced Hot Latte.
And I do have to say, just shout out to Starbucks, they actually had pumpkin drinks, because we went to Caribou first, and Caribou ran out of pumpkin. So Caribou, you gotta get on your game. Typically we go to Caribou and we love their drinks, but we know Starbucks is more popular just in general, it seems like. So which do you guys prefer, Caribou or Starbucks?
Yeah, maybe we'll put a poll up on our Instagram stories.
Yeah. And what is your favorite festive drink? But let's try this pumpkin latte. Pumpkin lattes are probably one of my go-tos in October.
Yeah, I'm definitely a pumpkin, I'm a basic, they call it the basic. The basic person in fall, the pumpkin spice everything. Now, I stop at the lattes and the coffees and the shakes and stuff. I'm not one to try like pumpkin spice Pop-Tarts or pumpkin spice Cheerios.
I will do a festive fall alcoholic drink.
Yeah.
So I've done like pumpkin Kahlua drinks, or we did an apple cider mule the other day.
That was good.
So I will it's mostly drinks that I take my festive fall, just like pumpkin. But I think it was on Bobby Bones, Amy was saying she think it'd be neat to have like pumpkin spice dryer sheets.
Yeah, that would smell really good. I do love pumpkin spice candles.
Yes.
Someone asked me the other day, what does pumpkin really smell like? When we think of pumpkin spice, it's this nostalgic smell of fall, but really pumpkin doesn't really have a smell.
It's
more the
seasoning.
Cinnamon.
Yeah, it's the allspice almost seasoning in it, pumpkin spice. See, what is pumpkin spice? What's
Nutmeg.
Nutmeg.
cinnamon,
is
ginger maybe.
or what's that other one?
Starts with a C. Cardamom. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
But
Not twigs. That's a stick. What is that one that I'm thinking of?
I have no idea.
I don't know. But yeah, so I think it's those spices that make you think of fall.
So on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you rate this?
Since it's typically my go-to, probably an 8.
1 to 5, I said. But an 8. That's awesome. 1 to 5. Okay, let's go. 4. Okay, I think so too. I think it's pretty good. It's not too sweet. It's a good balance.
Yeah, I like that sometimes when drinks are too sugary, it just defeats the purpose of having coffee with it. So I like to have that coffee flavor with just the pumpkin kind of added to it.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, we're going to keep going with the creepy stories, and then we're going to kind of lead into some fall traditions and wrap up on a happy note here. So, creepiest thing that's ever happened to you while you were alone?
Okay, so there's been a few different things that have happened just like living out in the country. But I would say the creepiest thing, and I'm not going to give the story away right away, but Kyle was away at a farm show, and I was home alone. It was before I had Andrew. And I was sitting on the couch watching TV and my phone died. And I was like, well, I'll charge it when I go upstairs, like, not a big deal. And so I was just sitting on the couch and I was thinking about going to bed soon. And then all of a sudden I hear, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like 9:30 at night. And Kyle's not here. He's like 2 hours away. Thankfully, I do live pretty close to family, so I needed to call someone. But I was like, oh my gosh, who is that? So then I was like looking out the window, but I didn't want anybody to see me, and I could see that there was a truck in the driveway, but since it was nighttime, I couldn't see the color, and I couldn't see what like style of truck it was. I just saw a big truck in the driveway, so I'm like, oh my gosh, like who is that? So I run upstairs, and my dog is barking, and so I'm like just even more freaked out, and I'm like trying to plug my phone in, but you know, of course, when it's dead, it takes a few seconds to like connect and get it back charged. So I'm like waiting for it to come on. At this time, I'm hearing like a man's voice, like, are you in there? And I was like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? So then finally my phone gets charged enough that I could try to call somebody. And so the first person I think of is my father-in-law because he's half a mile down the road. So I'm trying to call him, and then as I'm calling, I'm seeing missed messages coming through. Since my phone was dead, they were now just coming through, and it was from my dad. And the first one was like, hey, if you have time, give me a call. He just calls about once a week to chat. And then the next one, it was like, oh, I saw that he had tried calling. And then there was another one that said, Megan, are you home? I know Kyle's gone. I'm just kind of worried about you. I haven't heard anything. You haven't responded to my text message. So then I go, oh my gosh, I think it's my dad outside. So then I'm like talking to my father-in-law on the phone, and I go, let me just a second. So I like go outside and like get a better view of the truck, and it's my dad's truck. And then I hear my dad's voice like, Megan! And so I like go out and open the garage, and I go, what? What are you doing? And he goes, I was just worried about you because Kyle was gone and you weren't answering. You usually do, and so I just thought I'd just come and check on you, and then you weren't answering the door, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you like scared the crap out of me. So that was probably like the most scary in the moment, but then turned out okay. How about you?
So I don't tend to have as many scary stories as you do because you kind of live, honestly. Because I'm sitting here trying to think of one, and I'm like, I don't know, because you live out in the country, and I feel like Kyle's gone and more at like farm shows and stuff like that. I'm really not by myself very often, so the creepiest thing that's ever happened to you while you're alone, I don't know if I have one where, there was one time, Tyler goes and moves snow in the winter time, so he was out late, and he was either out late or he started early, I can't remember, but it was in the middle of the night. And I was in the room. I like to, when I am home alone, I tend to go, now that I have Dean, I'm not as bad. But when I was, before I was a mom, I would usually go back into my room and watch TV in there instead of like out in the living room where you like.
I always turn my Sensi on, so I have a little light in there.
And I was home by myself, and I was in the middle of a sleep, and Diesel was laying next to us, or next to me. and all of a sudden he gets up and he's standing at the door and he's just barking.
Oh.
And I was like, my hair stood up and I was like, Tyler, are you home? And like he didn't answer anything and Diesel was just barking at the door.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
I ended up like going out into the kitchen and the living room, like checking things out, and I didn't see anything. So I still don't know if he heard something outside or if like Tyler wasn't home yet. So I was like, all right, Diesel, I think it was just nothing. It was just the wind. Let's just go back to bed. And Diesel kind of calmed down once we checked the house out. But I was like,
that's always scary when dogs bark because you never know what they're barking at. And you're
Yeah.
like, okay, they obviously hear something or they see something. Like, what is it that I
Yeah.
don't see or hear?
yeah.
So it's nice to have dogs to alert you, but then also you're like, what do you see?
Yeah, what are you barking at?
Yeah.
Okay, the next one and the next drink we have here, Megan, is a apple caramel macchiato.
I'm excited to try this one.
So this one is also made with oat milk, so it's also going to be different in that way.
Yeah.
Should we cheers?
I need to swallow it a little bit.
Oh, it does. Maybe it has a tad bit too much cinnamon, but I feel like it's pretty refreshing.
That is refreshing. It's more refreshing than I thought it would be. I'm gonna look it up, guys, to see what's in it. So Starbucks, caramel, apple, because it's got coffee in it too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a macchiato.
So that's interesting that it's like a coffee drink with apple.
I know. You usually don't see apple with coffee. Okay, while Megan's looking that up, the scariest movie that we've ever seen. Okay, so, oh, did you find it?
Not yet, but I want to find it. So yeah, go ahead and start that.
Okay, so the scariest movie I've ever seen, I actually did not see this movie. Okay.
Which is pretty scary then if you haven't seen it.
Yes, and I will never see this movie. I will never see this movie. So I was in second.
Hopefully it's never on in the background.
Yeah. Actually, one time it was, and I was like, turn that off. Okay, so let me paint the picture for you. I was in second grade. It was reading time, quiet reading time. Okay, guys, quiet reading time. She dimmed the lights of the second grade classroom. We were sitting, my friend Carly, shout out to Carly. We were sitting out in the kind of like towards the back of the room, and we weren't supposed to be talking, but we were sitting there chatting, and she said, I have to tell you about this scary movie that I watched this weekend. She's a second grader, and this is still the scariest movie. I've never even seen it. It was called The Ring. Raise your hand if you've seen that movie before, because I
haven't seen it.
I'm still haunted by this. So she like told us in detail the story of this movie she watched, and it's called The Ring, and it's where the lady comes out of the TV, and she's
Isn't there a well involved?
There's
too?
a well involved. So the lady comes out of the TV. She's got black hair over her eyes. I'm literally getting goosebumps talking about it. She's got black hair over her eyes. She like steps out of the TV. And I think it has something to do with like if you watch a certain show or movie or something, then she'll like come out.
I remember
of the TV.
you telling me about it.
And then something about there's a well outside, and she like lives in the well of this she's gonna step out of the. I don't know how she gets from the well to the TV, but there's some holes. Yeah, but it also kind of reminds me of like Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
So the two together, like I remember after this, I used to be afraid to like look in the mirror or like spin around 3 times. I don't know if you guys did that too in middle school and high school, like the Bloody Mary. If you spin around 3 times with the lights off in the mirror, then you'll see blood on the mirror or something like that.
Yeah, I was actually, when you started telling The Ring, what popped into my head was another scary was the Bloody Mary.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna mention that one.
What's the scariest movie that you think you've seen?
The one that always comes to mind isn't really a Halloween movie, but it's just a scary movie, is Rest Stop.
Yeah, that's so realistic.
Yeah, so have you guys seen Rest Stop? If you haven't, I recommend it because it's a series. Like, there's more than one. It's a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
There actually might be like three or 4. I forget how many there are. But we watched that in middle school. So we had, growing up at my dad's house, we had a movie room, game room. We had like video games and stuff in there. So that's where we would typically like watch a scary movie. And I just remember sitting in that room watching Rest Stop with, I think it was like Morgan, and we had some friends over, or like maybe, I forget if it was like our boyfriends over or something, I don't know. And it was just so creepy because what happens is these people get stuck at a rest stop, and there's this creepy guy that like ends up kidnapping them and stuff like that, and takes them and like does creepy things, and like they're trying to get away the whole time. But then I don't want to spoil the end, but the end it's like a plot twist, and it makes you think, because it makes you almost think that they're like crazy.
Yeah.
Like anything that's like a mental thing in movies, just like the movie Flight, is it Flight Plane or something like that, where the characters are like trying to
she loses her
daughter, and then they try to make her think she's crazy, and like she never brought her daughter on board.
Yeah.
Those kind of movies just give me the heebie-jeebies, and so like anything that's a mental twist makes me freaked out.
Yeah. Yep. Me too. I just have goosebumps right now when we're talking about it. The one movie that I never was brave enough to watch is like, which I maybe still one day will, but as I'm getting older, I'm just not as much into scary movies as I used to be. But Halloween, just the plain old Halloween with Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I think I've tried watching it, and we watched part of it with Mom one time in high school, but I think we watched about like half of it, and then we torrented it. I don't know if I've ever seen the whole thing. So that's probably one that I maybe would go back to and want to watch, just because it's like your traditional Halloween movie. Some that I kind of like that are kind of fun is like, what's that one with the car? It's like an old classic, like Beetlejuice, things like that. And then there's like that car one, that scary, spooky car.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh, the Headless Horseman.
Headless, those ones are fun. Okay, and then should we try another drink, and then we'll get to maybe a few more scary stories.
Yeah.
So this one here is our pumpkin cold brew.
So pumpkin cold brew is pretty much focused on the foam, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's got a pumpkin-y foam, and then the rest is mostly just iced coffee.
Yes, yep.
So
that's just so smooth.
Yeah, this one, the foam definitely does it for me, because you get that foam with the coffee at the same time, and it's just like a perfect mix.
With the apple caramel macchiato, where did you rank that on a scale of 1 to 5?
I like it more than I thought I would.
I think I like it like maybe 3.5. I think
maybe it's today because it's something different. I'm thinking like a 4.
A 4. I do like it. Almost reminds me of like, like I think it has a little bit too strong cinnamon taste at the end, but I really like the beginning of it.
I don't really think I'm gonna be different than you. I don't really think it has too much cinnamon. Yeah.
I really like, out of the 3 we just tried, usually I go for the hot, but I'm liking the ice today because I think it's in the middle of the day and we're just kind of dehydrated. The ice feels more refreshing.
Yeah, morning time I go for hot, rest of the day I go for iced.
Okay.
I typically hardly go to blended.
No, I don't either. And if, like, Megan and I are pretty health conscious for the most part, so most of the time when I go get coffee though, like especially festive coffee drinks, I'm gonna get the one that I like if I'm gonna spend the money on it, since it's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But the cold brew is a nice one for like a little bit lower calories, but still get that festiveness out of it.
Yeah.
So that one would be like maybe my go-to if I was gonna get it during the week.
Have you guys also noticed, I feel like with iced or anything cold, you don't have to add as much sweetness.
No, it definitely does seem sweeter without having to add in that extra sugar. Yeah. Okay, so back to that, Megan mentioned the room, our toy room that we used to watch movies in, and it was our game/movie room growing up. We had this wardrobe in there that was my great-great-grandma's, or maybe just great-grandma, and it had been locked as long as we could remember. Like, we used to try to open it, we were like, what is in this wardrobe? I asked my dad if he knew what was in it. He said he didn't know. He said he has never opened it. So we were like, this is kind of weird. It's just kind of this awkward wardrobe. It was big and clunky and
you know, houses that like had multiple generations, things are just in there that you don't know where they came from.
Yeah.
And they've just been passed down and you just don't really think about it. You're just like, it's there because it's always been here.
Yes. So one time we went upstairs. We hadn't been up there for a while. This was kind of the transition between us playing baby dolls and Barbies to like us making it into a game room, movie room, because we were still kind of in that middle, like late elementary, early middle school, and we went in there. We hadn't been in there a while, and we were gonna try to organize it and get it cleaned up and stuff.
Yeah.
And you guys, Not even joking, the wardrobe was open. It was open,
It was
guys.
open. I can contest. It was open.
And I asked my dad, I'm like, where'd you find the key to open this? Or how did you open
Yeah,
this?
we thought like, oh, we gotta just go ask him. Like, he figured it out.
Yeah, and he goes, I didn't open it. He didn't open this wardrobe. And we still don't know to this day how it got open.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? We were like, okay, that's kind of odd. We were freaked out for like a day, and then the next day we started using it for our toys.
Yeah, we started putting our stuff in there to organize the room a little
Nothing
bit.
happened to the stuff, so we're like, I don't know. They just figured we should use it. I don't know. The generation before us came and unlocked it. I don't know.
We ended up, when we fully transitioned it to a movie room, we ended up putting it in the bone pile.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't the smartest decision.
The other thing I wanted to mention, most of these stories come from living out in the country or
Our dad's house.
our dad's house, because it's over 100 years old. So like we didn't have a lot of scary stories at my mom's house growing up, because it was newer house, it was in town. Most of the time it was in town. We moved a few different times with my mom, but most of the time our house was in town, so like there wasn't like random people stopping in and you don't know who it is. But most of these stories are from my dad's house because it was old and it was out on the farm. Also, what's kind of fun is, like with my dad's house, there was just like a ton of rooms, and so it was just like
It's kind of a maze.
it felt like it had secret, like as we were growing up, it felt like it had secret passageways, and like there was a room down in the basement we hadn't been in until we were in like 4th or 5th grade, and it was like way in the back. It used to be a canning room, and we're like, this room has been in here our entire life? Like, it's like a secret room. We had no idea this room was in here. My dad's like, I did. Like, yeah. He's like, what do you mean you didn't know it was in here? And I'm like, I've never been down here before, this far in the basement.
Yeah. One more scary story. This does have to do with mom's side of the family. So this isn't a scary story that we experienced, but one
We've
that
heard many times.
it still gives me the heebie-jeebies every time I hear it. So my grandma Kill, she told us the story. They have a house on Highway 6, so it's pretty close to the highway, and it's right there. People who maybe have like stopped cars or like engine problems would come there, and so it wasn't very uncommon to have someone come and knock on the door from the highway. But this one time, they were in the house and everything, and there was this person that had gotten loose or broke out of this facility, and they were missing. They were on watch for them, and they said if you see this person, he might be dangerous. Call 911 right away. And so all of a sudden they were like eating dinner or whatnot, and they looked out in the backyard because they saw some movement, and this person was sitting on the fence.
Like on the fence post.
They were just hanging out, sitting on the fence post in the backyard. So grandma had my mom and her siblings, and they went downstairs and they called 911. And they went downstairs, and he was looking in the window downstairs when they went down
like,
there.
Like peering through, like gawking in the window.
Yes. So my mom said she doesn't really remember the whole window part of it, but she remembers him sitting on the fence post. But grandma had told us that she went downstairs and he was peering in the window. So we weren't there. I can't tell you
exactly what happened, but that's just a scary story that I remember hearing, like at family time, and just like you hear those stories from your family members.
Yeah.
All right, should we try the last one?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this is a frappe, which, like I mentioned, Morgan and I don't typically get frappe, so we were excited to get this one.
Ooh, that's good.
It's the pumpkin frappe.
And it's kind of turned ice now that it's been a while.
Yeah, so it doesn't really have that blended texture anymore since we had it sitting here, but
it's kind of a nice treat. We don't usually get whipped cream. Megan and I tend to usually ask. We're very much, you guys will find, if you know us personally, we're very similar.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know us and you're listening to this podcast and you've never met us in real life, we're twins, but we're very similar twins. So we're technically fraternal twins, but we sometimes act identical.
Well, and we like the festivity of it, of like pumpkin drinks and like just fall things, but so we will treat ourselves. But we typically will be like, no whipped cream, please.
Yeah, just take
a few extra calories
20
off.
calories and sugar off of the top.
So I don't know how much it's saving us, but we are kind of funny in that way.
Okay, let's pass now to fall traditions. So let's get going on some things that we've done in the past that were really fun for us and chat about what we're planning on doing this year. Okay, so Megan, what were some of your favorite fall traditions that we did growing up?
Okay, so I just have so many that I feel like I could take a whole podcast episode on just fall traditions because I love just like pumpkin patches and apple orchards and hayrack rides and the fun Halloween books that I read to my students at school. I just love it all. Parties, football, all of the fall stuff. But one that really sticks out that actually my stepsister started when she was in school and we just watched her do it and then we're going to keep on that tradition is like hayrack rides with friends. And we would just invite probably like 15, 20 friends. And my dad would get on the tractor, and like my dad and mom and step parents and everybody came on this evening, like usually to help. And we would do chili. And there was one time when I remember probably the first time that we did it, like our parents and their friends got masks and stuff on and they hid, and so they tried to scare us. So it was like a scary haunted hayrack ride. After that, sometimes it just became like we're just gonna travel around the farm and like then come back and watch a scary movie.
Mm-hmm.
But that was probably my favorite. Sometimes we'd have a bonfire. Sometimes we would have like a fun like apple cider drink or just different things that Morgan and I would plan and have along with the hayrack ride. But that was probably my favorite tradition. I told my dad now that Dean and Andrew are here, we should bring that back.
At least the hayrack ride and the chili.
Yeah, not the scary until they get older, but like
we could even watch like a fun scary like children's scary movie.
Yeah, we could do like Casper or something. Even though like that could be scary for like this little, but when they get into elementary school, do a Halloween Town.
Even right now, Charlie Brown's Halloween.
Yeah, there we go. So just like a Halloween show, TV show.
And then even in college, Megan and I have always been, even though, okay, I would probably say Christmas is my favorite holiday, but Halloween is right up there with it because I just love the festiveness of it. And I love like sweatshirt weather, bonfire weather. But we even had Halloween parties in college in Ames, and we had all of our friends dressed up one year, and we had Jello shots that we made that were like festive fall flavors, and it was really fun. I just really get into Halloween, and I know a lot of times it can be like one of those cliche holidays, or it can be like some people even like, I feel like schools are starting to move away from Halloween. But to me, Halloween, it doesn't have to be any sort of, it can just be a fun Hallmark holiday.
Yeah,
that's
it doesn't have to
have a meaning behind it.
No, religious.
No, it can just be fun and like play dress up and have movies to watch and things, festive drinks and stuff like that. But one of my favorites was trick-or-treating. So we would always visit family members. Mom would take us around to our grandparents, some aunt and uncles. When we were younger, we would get together with my cousins and we would kind of trick-or-treat into different places, a few houses together. And that was really fun. Even though a lot of kids maybe were going through town and walking from house to house, I always thought it was really neat to like get dressed up and go show our family members our costume.
Yeah, people that we knew versus like just neighbors that you occasionally saw.
And I know Mom and stuff did that because she knew it was safe and we could get good candy and stuff and not have to worry about it. But it also was just fun to like be with family during that season and then show them our costume and get together with your cousins and like compare like, this is what I am this year.
And it's kind of nice for people who live out in the country because like my grandma Pat lives out in the country and Grandma Kill lived, like you mentioned, on Highway 6 in Papa John. And so it wasn't smack dab in the middle of town, so they didn't get a lot of trick-or-treaters.
No.
And so this way, like we were able to be trick-or-treaters for them. And then also I enjoyed it too because we got to see our cousins and maybe we'd have like pizza at Grandma Kill's and Papa's house or something and then go out trick-or-treating. So it was one of my favorite memories too. Do you plan to do that with Dean?
I do, and I think it would be really neat you and I to get together, and when Michael has kids and stuff like that, to get them together because then they can. Like you said, we always have fun getting together with our cousins, so then our kids can get together with their cousins.
Yeah.
And like, I want to see what Andrew's gonna be,
Yeah.
and so like it makes sense to do it together, even if we do have them walk in town a little bit as they get older and things, but do it together.
Yeah,
and then it still make the rounds to our parents and and so they can show off their costumes.
And since we did live in town with my mom most of the time, typically we would go out and do the driving, go to my grandma's, go to this family member's house and stuff like that. But if we had enough time when we got back and the lights weren't off on people's porches, as we got older, she did say, okay, you can go down this street and you can go to a few houses because our friends did that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we will like, well, we want to go walk on the street and be independent and go to trick-or-treaters' houses or go to people's houses and trick-or-treat. And so we did start doing a little bit of that.
Yes, yeah. And I feel like our parents always, for most holidays, our parents were always like made it a big special deal. Like I remember for supper, they would get a Papa John's pizza with a pumpkin outlined in pepperoni. Around Valentine's Day, they would get one with a heart. And so I feel like they both, our mom and dad and our step-parents made it special. Most holidays were like a big deal, and it was a fun, special day.
Yeah. And then, just to wrap things up a little bit, guys, since we have told a little bit some scary stories, now we did some fall traditions, let's talk about this year. So, like, what are your plans this year? What's Dean going to be for Halloween? Do you plan on dressing up? What does Tyler like to do?
So I thought about dressing up. I probably won't this year. Dean's going to be a firefighter. And so he's got...
That's going to be so cute.
Yeah, and his grandpa, Brian, Tyler's dad, is a retired firefighter, so it fits perfect. And Tyler was a firefighter one time when he was little, so it's just kind of fitting. But he's got some fireman PJs, and I bought him some black rubber boots and a hat and a little pager and a fire extinguisher. And then he has a Paw Patrol fire truck that he drives around in our basement, and he's gonna take that, and then he can ride it around in people's houses when we go visit. But I figured we would start that tradition of meeting up with you and Michael and going to moms and dads and grandparents. And
and even if we just like have like a meeting hub where we meet. And then go from there because I know like
you going to Lisa's,
go to see Kyle's family too, and yeah.
So what's Andrew gonna be? Oh, for us dressing up, I think it's so cute when parents do dress up. I asked Tyler though if he wanted to dress up this year, and he said probably not, but maybe I can get him to dress up again in the future. Last year I just wore a Halloween t-shirt. Maybe I'll see if I can get a Halloween t-shirt and be festive still in that way. Okay, what's your plan?
Yeah, so next year I was gonna say maybe we'll have to just buy costumes and then just be like, we bought these, here you go, you're gonna wear them. We'll see if that actually works. But so this is Andrew's very first Halloween, and so I thought it would be fun to kind of do a theme, but we're not dressing fully, Kyle and I. So we are going to be the three bears from Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Andrew's going to wear a little bear costume, and then Kyle and I both have t-shirts that say Mama Bear, and his says Papa Bear, and it's got a bear on it. And so we're not like in costume, but we have that theme: Baby Bear, Mama Bear, Papa Bear.
Yeah, I love that. That's gonna be so cute.
Yeah, and so then for us, we're just planning on going to families and stuff too. So that's our plan.
Before we wrap up, we're getting a little bit past our half an hour that we like to keep it at, but one more thing I wanted to talk about was pumpkins. We haven't talked about carving pumpkins. So this year, I am probably going to just have Dean paint the pumpkin. Last year, Tyler carved it while we sat there, and then Dean kind of played with the pulp and the seeds, which was fun. It was good sensory activity, and maybe I'll still have him do that. Maybe we can carve one pumpkin. But since he's still small enough that he can't really help carve it, I thought maybe it would be fun to spread out a sheet on the lawn and have him paint one.
That's a good idea. I need to get pumpkins still. We have one pumpkin because, like we mentioned, our parents like to make holidays special. My mom yesterday brought over a little surprise for Andrew, and she brought one to Dean as well. She had painted cute pumpkins for the boys and brought over a Halloween card. So we have one pumpkin sitting on our steps. I do want to get some more pumpkins. I haven't gotten mugs this year. I don't know if I will. I typically do, but I like to decorate in that way.
Now it might be getting a tad too cold. You
Yeah.
have to make sure
Just
if you
put
do
them
get
in the
them,
garage
bring them
each
inside.
night.
Yeah.
I should have got them earlier.
All right. Well, this was so much fun. Let us know your guys' favorite fall traditions and Halloween spooky stories that you would like to share with us. Let's put a poll up on Instagram once we post this for your favorite fall drinks that you've tried, and let's just continue this fun season together. And as we lead into the holiday season, just enjoy and feel blessed for all that we have.
And if you guys like the episode, it would be awesome if you could tag us and share this episode with your friends. That will help us out and get more views. And so we appreciate you guys and appreciate you listening and tuning in. It's so much fun for us to do.
It is. Thank you, everyone. Have a great fall. That was good.
Yeah. Go get